Modern yoga and Pilates studios are marketed as premium sanctuaries for health and recovery. But beneath the aesthetic finishes, these spaces operate on hygiene margins that are significantly tighter than those of a standard fitness center. When you step onto a mat, you enter a state of physical vulnerability. You spend 60 minutes or more with your bare hands, feet, and face pressing directly into the texture of a shared surface, leaving behind sweat and respiratory mucosa. Without precise turnaround protocols, a single piece of foam becomes an active biological vector. Over the course of a day, an unsanitized mat accumulates bacteria, transmissible fungal spores, and respiratory pathogens from dozens of different users. Standard gym cleaning, like floor mopping and equipment wipes, struggles to address the micro-contamination cycle occurring within porous materials. In a high-density mat environment, these generic techniques leave bacteria like Staphylococcus aureus and fungal spores to colonize the surface within 24 hours. For a professional studio, managing these invisible risks through specific clinical protocols is the primary mechanism for controlling infectious disease. The first layer of defense starts with the mat itself. Protecting it requires precise chemical matching because different mat materials react differently to clinical disinfectants. This diagram compares a budget PVC mat on the left to a denser TPE mat on the right. Notice how the liquid disinfectant soaks right into the porous PVC layer, while it remains on the surface of the denser TPE, where it can effectively neutralize pathogens. Studio staff typically have an 8 to 10 minute window to turn a room around between sessions. To reliably kill pathogens like MRSA and respiratory coronaviruses, the protocol requires properly diluted, TGA-registered disinfectants, like VeraClean, to hit specific contact times. Substituting these with generic bleach or phenolic disinfectants causes immediate material degradation. These chemicals corrode PVC, yellow natural rubber, and leave residues that can irritate the respiratory systems of practitioners. Applying the wrong chemistry fails to achieve disinfection and causes lasting damage to the studio's primary equipment. In a Pilates studio, the mechanical complexity increases. Reformers feature layers of synthetic upholstery, sliding carriages, and metal springs that trap sweat and debris in ways a flat-weight bench does not. A single reformer might undergo 60 user contact cycles in a day. This creates a significant vector for the spread of tinea pedis and plantar warts, as multiple users cycle through the same fabric straps and synthetic leather headrests. Breaking this chain requires zone-specific cleaning. Leather components need specific dilutions to prevent cracking, while metal springs and hardware require meticulous dry wiping to prevent the formation of rust. Protecting this specialized equipment requires a surgical approach to material maintenance that generic antibacterial sprays cannot provide. Beyond the physical equipment, there is the atmospheric environment. When a hot yoga studio operates at 38 degrees Celsius, the heat and humidity accelerate the growth of pathogens on every surface. Australian Standard AS 1668.2 specifies that indoor air quality must remain under 1,000 parts per million of CO2. As the concentration crosses that threshold, the risk of airborne transmission for respiratory viruses and fungi increases. If the relative humidity climbs past 60%, mold colonization accelerates. Aspergillus and penicillium can begin to grow on studio walls and baseboards within 4 weeks of inadequate ventilation. Remediation requires increasing the intake of outdoor air through the HVAC system. While HEPA filtration reduces particle counts, it does not reduce CO2 levels. Only consistent air exchange maintains a safe environment. Managing the invisible respiratory environment is a regulatory and biological requirement for maintaining student safety. Executing these multi-layered sanitization protocols requires precise timing, especially within the tight class changeover windows typical of a busy studio. Delegating this chemistry to instructors often leads to lower protocol compliance and eventual equipment damage. Data suggests that ad hoc cleaning by teaching staff often fails to meet the necessary infection control standards. Maintaining consistent WHS compliance requires dedicated professionals who are trained specifically in these disinfection techniques. Clean Group provides this specialized service across Sydney. Their teams execute these clinical turnaround and deep cleaning schedules, allowing studio management to focus on instruction while ensuring the facility meets all health standards. The clinical security of the space forms the invisible backbone of a professional wellness environment.